Everybody, I'm Molt Money. Man, we got some real good news today. I'm going to share it with you today and talk to you all about the CBDC stuff that is currently taking over the world, all the different countries that are working with CBDCs, and how Ripple and Stellar are going to be the networks of choice in my personal opinion. We take a look at the market today, up just 1%, sitting very flat, 899 billion. Now, clearly not in a bull run in terms of price action and not getting a whole lot of movement, but we are in a bull run of a sense. And before you say, what the hell are you talking about? We haven't had a bull run since late last year. We are in a bull run of implementation, my friends. We see India to test digital rupee in 4 cities with 4 banks. The test, which will start on Thursday, so 24 hours, within 24 hours of this recording, will be extended to include another 9 cities and 4 lenders in a later phase. Boom. Now, next, National Bank of Ukraine releases draft concept for digital. I'm going to try not to butcher this. Harvenia. Hopefully I said that right. We talked about what's happening here in the US, folks. So when you get all that FUD and you hear all that FUD, ignore it. This is what is truly happening. Banking giants and New York Fed start 12-week digital dollar pilot. And we're talking about pretty darn big players. Citigroup, MasterCard, Wells Fargo, among other financial companies. Now, I am somewhat of a believer. What happens in history tends to repeat itself. And when we take a look at what happened in 2017, as you saw on the thumbnail, we got a 31,346.47% gain. Now, I've got a video on my channel about this. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, definitely I would recommend that, obviously. But go back and check that video out, because I talk about how back then there weren't institutions in a large scale getting in. Yes, there were moves being made, there were some business deals being made, but back then you didn't have what you have now, where you see 90 countries that are either researching or developing CBDCs. And most, I will say, are developing CBDCs. You can see this right here on stellar.org. It talks all about understanding CBDCs. Ripple and Stellar are the 2 biggest dogs on the porch that are primed and ready to go in terms of getting this whole new financial system moving. Now, I've got some more videos coming later this week about how I think this is all going to roll out. Just yesterday, I pointed this out, right? Here's Danielle Dixon, CEO of Stellar Development Foundation. She's been working with President Zelensky since 2018 on their CBDC. Who do you think President Zelensky is going to use for implementation in terms of blockchains? Well, I would say that Stellar is a pretty darn safe bet. Just my thoughts, my opinions. Lastly, I want to talk about this tweet right here, and then I've got a quick clip that I found very, very refreshing to talk about. I'll get to that in just a second. Banks all over are placing restrictions of around 3,000 on crypto purchases. Now, imagine XRP hitting 1K value per coin. Looks like people can only buy 3 to 4 XRP maximum. You see how this is going to go? And shout out to the Rebuild Coach, and I retweeted it. If you don't already follow me, it's at Molt Money. But look, this is what's happening. Why am I not worried about securities? Why am I not worried about cryptocurrencies becoming securities? Because I'm already in. I've already been in these very safe digital assets, in my personal opinion. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. But when we talk about XRP and XLM, I could not feel more secure with those investments. And I believe that I am set up in a way that will generate generational wealth. And I believe the same for you as well. Again, these are my thoughts, my opinions. Do your own research. But when we take a look at who is working with the top banks, who is working with the top countries, and who is making the decisions for you and I, Ripple and Stellar are at the forefront. Now, lastly, I haven't talked a whole lot about FTX, the FTX situation, because I've frankly been pretty disgusted about the situation, as I know many of you are as well. But I found that John Deaton, he sums up the situation very, very well. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoy the rest of yours, and I'll see you all in the next video.
And Bankman-Fried is going to start yucking it up pretty soon today at the New York Times Deal Book event. This Grace founder of FTX Exchange has already made a lot of waves in the headlines as he is now a regular chatterbox. Now, sadly, the more he talks, the more people just simply want to throw up. Joining me now, crypto law founder John Deaton. And John, Sam Bankman-Fried, he continues to suck all the oxygen out of the room. He keeps casting this dark shadow over the entire crypto world. So my question is why isn't he doing the perp walk yet? I mean, really, it's just, you think of all these sort of things, and I just don't recall Bernie Madoff, making rounds like this. I mean, again, from a journalistic point of view, you probably want to interview these folks, but other people are wondering, really, billions are missing. Why is this guy walking around?
You brought up Bernie Madoff. He was arrested the day after, he confessed.
Right.
Sam Bankman-Fried has confessed. And his Twitter feed and everything else. Charles, I don't know, but there's two things you can do it. What I would do is you arrest now. There's enough information under 18 U.S.C. 1343. That's the wire fraud statute. There's enough for the fraud statute. He went around looking like crypto savior, pretending to be crypto savior, and he goes to BlockFi and says, I'll give you this loan, but you have to deposit your client money in my FTX account. And then, of course, he steals that money to run his Ponzi hedge fund. So if I were in charge, I'd have had him arrested, introduce him to a 3x5 cell, remind him of what Russ Albrecht, who did much less with Silk Road, is serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years.
I mean, hearing more and more about that, people are really it's a story we all kind of forgot about, and I want to bring you back and talk more specifically about that. But there's just so many headlines. This interview with Sam Bankman-Fried, if you had a chance to ask him any questions right now, what do you want to hear? What hasn't he blurted out yet that we need to know?
Great question. The first thing, I get him to agree that the user agreement specified that the funds were client-only funds. And so he then commandeered those funds illegally and then sent them to Alameda. That needs to be brought up. Second, he had a back door. That back door allowed him to conceal the transfers from FTX to Alameda. But he claims, Charles, that he doesn't know how to code. So who did it? Who did it?
You know what, though? I'm not an architect or no construction, but I know how to open a door. So, you didn't have to code it, right? I mean, you see the schematic of how this company was built. It looks like it was built from day one to pull off these kind of thefts. So Janet Yellen's speaking today. She doesn't like crypto. You know that. This is a great excuse for regulators to come down hard on it. On top of that, I saw this tweet with Mr. Well, and it really caught my attention. 8 Congress people tried to stop the SEC's inquiry to FTX back in March. 5 of 8 received donations from Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. It bothers me. I've interviewed some of these folks, and I've always thought they were on the side of crypto investors, and with all these millions floating around, I don't know what to think anymore.
Well, that's a great question, but let's put this in context. I read that letter, Charles. It doesn't mention FTX.
Okay.
And what was happening is that Gary Gensler had sent hundreds of voluntary requests for information. When the crypto companies gave information, they then got an investigative subpoena, and then after that, they got sued, like Ripple, like Library, like Dragon Chain, take BlockFi. Nothing's happened, yet he cost them $100 million. They haven't done any registration. And guess what, Charles? The SEC is the second largest creditor in the BlockFi bankruptcy.
That's amazing.
How about that?
That's absolutely amazing.
And as far as Janet Yellen, she says that this is a Lehman-like situation for crypto. Charles, the only reason or way that it'll be like Lehman if no one goes to jail. That's the only way. This is not a Lehman moment in crypto. This is a Bernie Madoff moment in crypto. This is a Theranos moment in crypto. That's what this is. So let's make the right comparisons.
Great.